So here we are, we're testing out the Pocket 3 on the right hand side and the Ace Pro on the left hand side. Sort of testing out these two cameras. These are brand new, both of these, within a few weeks of being released of each other. I've been initially really impressed with the Pocket 3, but then the Ace Pro sort of come along and, you know, upset everybody. The one thing I wanted to just talk about before we go on to anything else is image quality. Now, what I did like about the Pocket 3 is the fact that you've got that 1-inch sensor, so you get sort of some nice natural bokeh in the background. The Ace Pro is more of a traditional solid action camera, and it gives you that nice sort of in focus, everything sort of sharp sort of look. What I did notice with the Pocket 3 with using it on the odd occasion is that everything looked a little bit sort of blown out. If I can get some sunlight for you in the background. So sometimes it looked a little bit blown out, the highlights did, and that's something I'd noticed from it. With the Ace Pro, you've got HDR in 4K 30 frames per second and below, so it automatically switches to HDR mode. So this is HDR that you're looking at now, because I'm recording in 25 frames per second. Yeah, and there's certain things about both of these cameras that have advantages and disadvantages, so we're just going to talk about it in this video today. Image quality wise, I think, you know, it depends what sort of look you're going for. There is other differences, like the field of view that is limiting on the Pocket 3. Let me know in the comments down below which sort of image quality you prefer. I like both of these cameras, I've got to be honest. I've got no real massive preference, but there is some advantages between these two that I do prefer in certain scenarios. So yeah, we'll talk about it in this video today. So both of these cameras have fantastic image quality. They can shoot in 4K 30, 24, 60 frames per second. Both have 4K 120 slow motion. Both looks brilliant, so you can get some really cool shots with both of these cameras. The Insta360 Ace Pro does have the Leica lens with the 1/1.3-inch sensor. It's got the pure video mode in here as well for brilliant low light performance. But on the other hand, you've got the DJI Pocket 3, which has that 1-inch sensor, so you're gonna have good low light performance because you've got the bigger sensor on this camera. It is more of a vlogging, personal recording camera for, you know, traveling, adventures, those kind of things, rather than the Ace Pro, which is more leaning towards the action market, but still has that vlogging feature with the big 2.4-inch vlogging screen on the front, which flips up so you can see yourself. Image quality wise, I think they look pretty similar. They're both very, very good quality video, and you do get a little bit of natural bokeh with the DJI because of that bigger sensor. The DJI Pocket 3 does have a dedicated low light mode, which does help enhance the low light. It also has 10-bit video color in here for normal shooting, where this is just 8-bit. But I found because you've got HDR in 30 frames per second and below on the Ace Pro, it gives it that very good picture quality. It looks very good. The HDR is fantastic. It gives you great image quality in really high dynamic range scenarios. The Pocket 3 doesn't have like a dedicated HDR mode, but you have got sort of D-Log M in there as well if you want to shoot a flat profile. There is a flat profile on the Ace Pro as well for color grading your footage if that's the way you want to go. So, you know, overall, image quality wise, low light performance is fantastic on both of these cameras. One of the other things that worries me about using the Pocket 3 is just its durability compared to something like the Ace Pro. It's got that mechanical gimbal which is movable, it's a breakable part, and you know, sometimes I'm even worried about getting it back into the case. It's a little bit awkward, it doesn't fit in there perfectly, you have to sort of shimmy it around to get it in there, and it's just a little bit unnerving sometimes when you're using it. I don't want to break it, I don't want to snap this gimbal off. And because it's a gimbal, like I said, it's a bit of a learning curve to get you in the right frame. With the Ace Pro, you sort of set it up and you're ready to go and record. You don't have to mess about with it while you're recording. So, yeah, obviously it's not waterproof as well. You've got that big opening on the side, which is where the SD card goes. This is not going to be waterproof, while the Ace Pro is waterproof down to 10 meters and weather resistant. You're not going to have any issues whatsoever. It's more rugged, it's more durable. I feel safer just sort of throwing it in my camera bag and going. With the Pocket 3, you just sort of have to take a second thought about how you're using it, where you're using it, what kind of conditions you're using it in, and, you know, being careful while you're using it rather than just throwing it around like you could do with an action camera. Can you see me? One of the downsides of the Pocket 3 is the field of view, and you're only limited to this field of view, which is a standard field of view. If you want to get a wider field of view, then you have to buy the wide angle lens, which comes with the creator kit. You know, you've got that price difference, and you're limited with the field of view that you get with the Pocket 3 if you don't buy the creator kit or the wide angle lens. This is D-Warp on the Ace Pro, and this is the standard field of view on the Pocket 3. So what I'm going to do is put the wide angle lens on the Pocket 3 to let you see what it looks like. This changed it to like a 15mm equivalent. So this is a wide angle lens. What does that look like? Does it make a huge difference? I've noticed it does obviously make a difference. It makes it wider. Is it wide enough for what you need it to do? Well, that's the decision you've got to make. This is D-Warp on the Ace Pro, so I'm now going to just change over the settings on the Ace Pro. So now this is ultra wide on the Ace Pro compared to wide on the Pocket 3, and then we'll go to action for even wider on the Ace Pro. For the field of view then, you are limited with the Pocket 3 unless you buy the added accessory. With the Ace Pro, you've got it built in. You've got action, you've got ultra wide, and you've got D-Warp, and then you've even got horizon leveling up to 45 degrees as well if you don't want to use the free frame mode. So there's 4 different field of view with that, and I've just found, with my personal experience anyway, vlogging with this is probably just still a little bit too tight unless you use the wide angle lens, and then for me sometimes even that's still not wide enough. You just want a wider angle sometimes, and you can get that with the Ace Pro, especially for vlogging and filming yourself. That comes in very, very useful. So that is one of the drawbacks of the Pocket 3. I've just found the field of view not quite suitable for the kind of filming that I do on a regular basis when it comes to like filming myself regularly. So there's one more thing that just sort of is a little bit annoying when you're using the Pocket 3, and it's more of a gimbal thing than anything else, is that when you're vlogging with it, it tends to sort of drift off a little bit like that. You see there's a bit of a delay to it going centered again. You don't have that problem with like a standard fixed lens action camera. It sort of just points at you wherever you point it, it looks at. So for vlogging, sometimes that's just a little bit better because you're vlogging and it's pointing at you, so you know you're in frame. With the Osmo, when you sort of do that, drifts off left and right. There's a bit of a learning curve to using this camera, and sometimes you sort of have to double click it to recenter it. So if you are planning on vlogging with this camera, then that's just something to think about. Like, you can use the tracking, so let's just turn the tracking on. So now we've got face tracking on, and you can change on the Pocket where you are in the frame, so you can press it left and right and down a bit if you want to. So that would be perfect. So there is that option, but it's just another thing you have to do with the camera. With the Ace Pro, you're just sort of in frame like this, so there's no real issue with the fixed lens. So, just something to think about if you're using this camera every day. The next thing is the built-in battery. Now, this has a built-in battery. If you want to extend the battery life, then you have to buy this battery handle. Connects via the USB-C on the bottom and gives you an extra bit of battery. The battery life is good, but if you do want extra battery, you have to buy the handle, and that's another expense, unless you buy the creator kit and it comes with it. So yeah, that's something else that I've noticed. You can't just swap the batteries out when you want to change it. You have to buy that extra handle or have multiple handles to reconnect them. You can hot swap them out, so if you're recording and the battery dies on the handle, you can put another one on and not interrupt the recording. But that's just something else that the Ace Pro has. You can actually replace the batteries in here. You can open the door up and you can put other batteries in if you want to. So you can have multiple batteries. The battery life is great as well. It's up to 100 minutes in 4K 60. So that is another advantage that has over the Pocket 3 for me. This is just my experience of using these two cameras over the last couple of months or so. I love both of these. I think they're great cameras, but the Pocket 3 does have its limitations for certain scenarios, and that is why I tend, for me anyway, to use the Ace Pro more often than the Pocket 3. It's just as simple as that. The AI smart features, such as being able to pause your recording, you can turn on AI Assistant, which actually highlights different clips in your video which it thinks are important, and then you can go in camera and edit those clips and export them as multiple clips or as a conjoined separate clip, which is amazing. So there is so many things where Insta360 are really innovating when it comes to the action cameras, and I like the way the company's going with these cameras. This is definitely the next generation of action cameras. This is where the industry is going. The fact we've got all this AI technology built in and the smart features they've incorporated, they've really thought about how people use these cameras every day, and trust me, it makes a huge difference to the way you use this and the user experience. So to conclude, the drawbacks of the Pocket 3: not waterproof, internal battery you can't swap out, and the fact that it's not rugged, and I'm a little bit scared of breaking that gimbal off the top when I use it. The pros of this is the fact that it's rugged, it's waterproof, it's got the flip up screen, you've got the built-in accessories, you've got the great pure video low light performance like the Pocket 3. To be fair, they are both great in low light, but the fact that you've got all these other user experience features in this camera, the fast processor, the Leica lens, it's it really is very, very good. I must admit, I've been super impressed with this camera over the last couple of months or so. The Pocket 3, I like it. I do like both these cameras, but I've got to say, if I had to pick one to leave the house with right now, it is going to be the Ace Pro, and that is just my opinion about these two cameras. Okay, that's it for this video. Please let me know your comments in the comments section down below. Let me know your thoughts. I'm really interested to hear. Check out this video. You might like this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe. Really does help. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.